Here in Japan, the streets can feel eerily quiet, even in the busiest corners of Tokyo. Once the heartbeat of a booming economy, the nation now faces a moral and demographic crisis. By 2050, nearly 40% of its population will be over 65. That's not just numbers. It's families stretched thin, communities hollowed out, and institutions being tested like never before. Today, we're going to explore what happens when a nation ages faster than it can adapt. Welcome to Nations and Notions. In this video, we're traveling through Japan not just to understand its population statistics, but to explore the deeper forces shaping its soul: ethics, institutions, identity, societal cohesion, and the collective memory that binds or strains its people. Aging isn't just a demographic fact. It's a test of resilience, of moral choices, of governance, and of societal legitimacy. Let's start with a stark reality. Japan is aging faster than any nation in human history. In 1950, the median age was just 23. Today, it's 49. And fertility rates? They've sunk to 1.1 children per woman, well below the replacement rate of 2.1. At first glance, this may seem like a technical, economic issue, but it's far more profound. Every declining birth rate represents a lost dream, a family that never formed, a future worker who never enters the labor market. There's societal psychology here. When people perceive life as increasingly burdensome, when work is relentless and housing costs soar, they make a rational but heartbreaking choice to delay or forego children. Historically, Japan has been resilient in the face of crises. After World War II, the nation rebuilt from ashes, fueled by a collective mindset rooted in social cohesion and moral commitment. But here, in the 21st century, the challenge is quieter, subtler, and deeply existential. The moral choice Japan faces isn't one of heroism in war, but of sustaining the social fabric when the very foundations, the young, the workforce, the caretakers, are shrinking. Imagine walking through a neighborhood where every shopfront was once a family business, now shuttered. This isn't just economic stagnation, it's a test of societal cohesion. How does a nation maintain legitimacy, trust, and institutional integrity when the people supporting it are disappearing? Despite fears, Japan's life expectancy remains among the highest in the world: 87 for women, 81 for men. The paradox is striking. The nation is healthier than ever, yet increasingly isolated and burdened by its own longevity. The human stakes of Japan's demographic shift are immense. Beyond economics, there is moral and psychological fatigue. Caregivers, often women in their 50s and 60s, face exhausting responsibilities with little systemic support. Children of elderly parents navigate a complicated moral landscape. Do they sacrifice their careers and lives to provide care, or rely on an underfunded public system? This is not merely personal stress, it's a crisis of societal trust. In communities where institutional integrity is high, people feel the system is there for them. In Japan, there's a tension. Decades of efficient governance have produced a highly capable state, yet bureaucracy is slow to innovate in elder care and labor reform. People begin to question the legitimacy of institutions, not in a revolutionary sense, but in quiet, cumulative ways. Historically, Japan's society has prized collective responsibility and respect for elders. But now these values meet a brutal numerical reality. Rural towns shrink, schools close, hospitals struggle. Once vibrant local festivals are scaled down or vanish entirely. What happens to a nation's moral compass when its traditions exist mostly on paper, performed by the few who remain? Japan has more robots per capita than any country in the world. In elder care, robots can remind patients to take medication, monitor vitals, and even provide conversation. But a machine, no matter how sophisticated, cannot replace the ethical and emotional fabric of human relationships. Institutional efficiency is not the same as societal resilience. How do we measure care when efficiency can simulate but not replace human connection? Japan's aging population is reshaping its economy in profound ways. A shrinking workforce means slower growth, rising debt-to-GDP ratios, and mounting pension liabilities. By 2040, estimates suggest that nearly half of government spending could be on healthcare and pensions. Politically, this is a crucible for legitimacy. The government must make moral choices that pit the young against the old, urban against rural, growth against equity. Policies such as raising the retirement age, promoting immigration, or incentivizing childbirth are not mere technical solutions. They are deeply political acts that test societal cohesion. Here's where psychology meets policy. Older voters in Japan wield significant political power, shaping elections and influencing public discourse, while younger generations, facing precarious employment and high living costs, increasingly disengage. The collective mindset fractures, and legitimacy, the belief that institutions act fairly, comes under strain. Despite these pressures, Japan's political corruption levels are relatively low compared to global standards. Yet the subtle erosion comes not from scandal, but from perceived inaction. When institutions cannot adapt to demographic change, trust decays quietly. Imagine a society where the most experienced citizens hold sway, yet the most innovative energies are stifled by structural inertia. How does a nation recover from this tension without sacrificing either justice or growth? All is not lost. Japan shows a remarkable capacity for cultural and institutional adaptation. Communities are experimenting with shared living spaces, robot-assisted care, and policies to encourage women and seniors to remain in the workforce longer. The moral choice is central. Japan can choose to retreat into nostalgia, mourn its lost youth, or innovate while honoring collective memory. The tension is ethical as much as it is practical. How do we care for our elders without sacrificing the opportunities of the next generation? How do we maintain societal cohesion when the numbers themselves seem to be stacked against us? Surprisingly, these pressures have sparked creativity. Japanese companies and local governments are piloting silver innovation projects, technology-driven solutions for aging populations, and there's a growing recognition that social resilience requires both institutional integrity and moral courage. Could other nations learn from Japan's struggle, not just in terms of policy, but in balancing moral choices, societal cohesion, and institutional legitimacy? What do we take away from Japan's aging crisis? A nation's strength isn't just measured in GDP or military power. It's found in its moral choices, in the resilience of its institutions, and in the cohesion of its society. Japan reminds us that longevity can be a double-edged sword. More years of life demand more from the collective conscience and institutional integrity. As we reflect, we see a nation in quiet struggle, making ethical choices in real time and redefining resilience in the 21st century. The story isn't complete, and the challenges are ongoing, but the human stakes, the moral dilemmas, and the societal ingenuity offer lessons for every nation facing demographic shifts and the pressures of collective memory. How should societies balance the needs of the old with the potential of the young? Can a nation maintain legitimacy and cohesion when demographic tides seem unstoppable? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below.